Creating exotic ideas is a serious business. Make it too bland, too boring, and you end up with something like the Jade Rabbit, which despite it being one of my most used weapons, doesn't get used by a large variety of the population. Make it too powerful and you get the Lorenz driver, which can give you multi-kills as well as giving you a back rub while serving you margaritas. I've seen a lot, and I mean a lot of different exotic ideas through the year or so we've been doing this, and today we're going to do something special. We're going to feature some of the best, worst, and stupidest ideas that I've seen. I've taken ideas from the YouTube comment section, our Discord, as well as our own Patreon, and we're going to feature them here. Now, this has been almost 30 episodes of doing this, so we're going to do something a little bit different for my own mental fortitude and mental health. I'm going to take the ideas, I'm going to start with the idea that actually makes kind of somewhat sense, but it's not the most exciting, and then we're going to get stupider and stupider and stupider until we get to the very final exotic, which is the featured exotic of the week, in which we will do a 180, and it will be the best looking exotic, or at least the idea that is, I think, the most well put together. Let's start off here with Serial Dreamer, who has the idea for Hunter Gauntlets called the Shadow's Presence. This idea is meant to turn your shadow shot into something that's not absolute total 100% left and right ass cheek, because Lord knows that the tether needs a little bit of love. This essentially makes your tether into a roaming super, and when you get kills with it, you get a bit of invisibility and a little bit of regen. Works perfectly for the flavor, and anything that's a band-aid over the bullet hole of how bad tether actually is in a more stressful situation outside of the PvE stuff, because obviously damage debuffs are always good, is a good thing in my book. I could definitely see people switching to this when their super's charged so that they can get a little bit more consistency out of their bow. I think we could go even further with this, like we could lean even harder in on this, because it's an exotic slot for taking this thing up. I think it could allow you to deal more impact damage, or allow you to maybe do critical hits or something like that. Just make the tether itself a bit more of a lethal weapon. But the idea here is pretty cool, and bonus points to anybody who can figure out where this art, which game this art is actually from. Solid idea, not super exciting, but it's not keeping me up at night. I'll give this one Obama pyramid out of 7 Minecrafts. And it is all downhill from here. Next up, from our Discord, we have... I am not going to attempt to pronounce that. The perk is called Fuck, that is hard to say. Skull Shattering Skull. Try saying that 5 times fast. Anyway, it increases your melee damage massively, and it has a little bit of a windup with shorter range. Basically, you headbutt things. If that's not the most Titan exotic you've ever heard in your entire life, I don't know what is. But ironically, this kind of works as an exotic. And not only is it, obviously giving you just more damage and such, but it actually seems relatively balanced. It's not just a straight up, yeah, now you just punch better. It actually requires a little bit of skill and a little bit of finesse. I could see Titans actually getting good with this as a sort of replacement for a shotgun in PvP, and obviously for PvE, it would just have to scale really, really well. I don't know if this would replace some of the other more, used exotics, but nevertheless could be a good neutral option, as obviously this is just a buff to all of those, right? Just a flat increase to any of them. The only question here that I have is that this is also supposed to give you immunity to debuffs for 5 seconds after killing an enemy with the melee ability, but I think that might cause a few things to get broken. I could be wrong on that. PvE experts, let me know down below if there's an encounter that just strictly breaks this. Ironically, despite this supposed to be a stupid idea, not too bad. I'll give this 3 rats out of 1 KFC fryer. Okay, and now we come to an idea that on paper, they're going for something cool here, but there's a handful of interactions that they're just straight up missing. This is an exotic void SMG in the lightweight frame, so 900 RPM. Kills made under the influence of torque restore a portion of health to the wielder, as well as partially refilling the magazine. At face value, this looks like a Huckleberry with health regen, but let's go ahead and look at this. Let's just look at this intrinsic perk here, shall we? Readying this weapon inflicts torque upon the wielder, which makes sense as to how we were able to get this. While affected, deal increased damage to enemies, but take increased damage yourself. Now, that right there, not a problem. That's a-okay in my book. Hey, it's an interesting risk-reward style of weapon. You could get yourself one-shot headshot from a bow or a body shot from a sniper rifle, or, you could actually deal some really heavy damage to things. Kind of cool, kind of interesting. The only problem is this little itty-bitty bit of text at the bottom Torque increases in power the longer you wield this weapon, up to a maximum of 50% both ways. Rampage, like Huckleberry, is its previous unnerfed version. All right, so far so okay. Torque also lasts for several seconds after switching weapons in proportion to how long the weapon was wielded prior. Now let me read in between the lines here for you. And this is why this is a problem. Imagine you are able to give any weapon in the game harmony. Any weapon, and all you have to do is stand around with the weapon in your hand for a little bit and pick your nose. Are you seeing the problem? Are you seeing the problem here a little bit? It doesn't require kills, which is obviously the easy fix that could make this a little bit more balanced. It just requires you to hold on to the weapon. 50% bonus damage to his weapon. Oh my gosh. We're just giving out damage. That's more damage bonus than a fucking Ward of Dawn. Holy shit. That is so much damage. That is an unhealthy amount of damage. Holy crap. There's a lot of really easy ways to fix this, and I'm sure this was just a mild oversight on the creator of this idea. But hot damn, you gotta think about the risk reward to this thing. On paper, this could be kind of cool, but you hold all the cards, and that is little design lesson. That's the problem with risk reward style of things like this. Think about something like a hand cannon. Theoretically, they're the highest risk, highest reward weapon, but the problem is that once people get good at that, that's all they're going to use because they can mitigate the risk. If you're able to control the risk, then you only ever really reap the rewards. The higher you go in skill, the less those risks become, the greater the rewards come. This is just that all the way boiled down. I always love getting ideas, but just think about the effort it took to get these types of bonuses. Just wielding it is definitely not enough. Maybe getting kills could work though. I give this 47 Angry Hornets out of 1 outdoor birthday party. But Misam, you say to yourself, surely it could not get worse than that. Well, that's where you're wrong, kiddo, because we've got one that is obviously intentionally meant to be a dumb idea. And yeah, it's pretty freaking dumb. This is the Cavasta 14G04. The flavor text is just perfect for this is, please no, by Zavala probably. The exotic perk is called No. Anytime this weapon is fired, you get punched by Zavala. Yes, killing a guardian or a major fully heals you and gives you an overshield and causes the drifter to say something to you. Now, right there, we could stop right there and we'd actually have a kind of interesting weapon. We'd be okay. We'd be all right. This is like a weird version of the Tommy's Matchbook. In fact, I probably wouldn't even have featured it or wouldn't even have looked at it because I would have scoffed, turned my nose up and said, this is just Tommy's Matchbook, but ADD. But then we get into the Catalyst, and that's where it really, you guys think. Bungie does a pretty good job. All things considered, even with the craziness of the weapon meta, Bungie does a relatively good job of not having things that just outright are just frustrating to play against. The Catalyst is called Maybe. This weapon's damage varies between 100% and 1000% randomly with each shot. That means, if you're lucky, you could kill a Guardian with one bullet. As obviously the Cavasta is a 600 RPM, it to the head deals 23 damage. 1000% of 23 damage is 230 damage. Is it going to deal that consistently? Probably not, but it's just a free damage bonus. Obviously this one's meant to be a joke, but this is such high quality meme right here because it actually started off kind of okay, just, you know, with a bit of maybe poor flavor, and then it just threw it all out the window. It just said, fuck it. Fuck everyone who plays this game. I'm gonna be the mother effing raid boss. One ice baby out of Under Pressure. All right, we all good? We're all still here? By the way, subscribe or I'll force the current Sonic movie to go back to the original Sonic design. Nobody wants that. I don't want that. Please don't make me do that. We come to the featured exotic of this week. Now this one's a little bit special because it's not an exotic. I put the challenge out to my Patreon viewers. Come up with a ritual weapon for the next season. Now obviously we already know it's gonna be a shotgun, but I just wanted to see what they could come up with. Damn, this is actually a really interesting idea. This is a 120 hand cannon in the style of the Warden's Law, i.e. it's a 2-shot hand cannon. This ritual weapon is called the Tarnished Ring. Just like any ritual weapon, it can swap between 2 different trees. On the first tree, you've got triple tap or quick draw, already starting off pretty strong. And in the second tree, you've got 4th times the charm or opening shot. Now, in case you maybe might have missed it, this weapon has both triple tap and 4th times the charm. How much ammo would this thing be capable of generating? A shit ton. As it turns out, we've actually featured a weapon previously a long time ago called the Infinity, which had 6 in the magazine that had both triple tap and 4th times the charm. And the thing could fire 20, I think it was 23 rounds or 24 rounds without running out of ammo. Damn, that is a lot of ammo. Also for PvP, quick draw opening shot is a fantastic option. I think this is really cool. I think this is pretty well thought out because it would be nice to have a primary weapon that is able to dish out consistent damage, maybe not the highest damage. Yeah, I think that's pretty damn neat. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section down below. If you are new, make sure that you subscribe as it helps out a lot and makes the serotonin in my brain go very happy. Bless your faces and deuces.